This is the Game Jesters Gaming Update Podcast, here with episode 30. You got your usual hosts, Angrod and Shamrock. So it's been a slow week since E3. All the big game news has been talked about at E3. We haven't had a whole lot of stuff. No one's really been dropping anything out. It'll be a little longer until we get anything. Sony will have their State of Play coming up next month or the month after. I think it's in August. And Nintendo will have their thing coming up soon. So we'll have a little bit more news to go on. So for this week, we're just going to drop in on a little bit of the news that we have already. And we're going to touch upon, I'm going to play, if you're watching on YouTube or live on Twitch right now, I'm going to play little trailers to keep you entertained while we talk. And if all you have is your voice, no trailers, but we'll let you know what we're talking about here.
So that's a dig at me right there. All I got is the voice. Sorry, we can't all have the. I can't put video trailers on iTunes and all that.
Maybe one day we'll get there. But so, the big games of July that are coming out, we're gonna jump into first. We got Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers DLC, which comes out PlayStation 4, PC. On July 2nd, so it's already out. You can jump in. That'll probably be our first trailer we're going to dive into. Then Stranger Things 3, the game.
Stranger 3.
Yeah, that'll be our second trailer, and we'll talk about that too. We also have... the release date for Stranger Things was July 4th. It just came out yesterday. You can officially play the Stranger Things 3, the game, and I lost. All of you lost too. We also have Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, which comes out on Switch on July 19th. Fire Emblem 3 Houses on Switch, July 26th. And Wolfenstein Youngblood on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Stadia, and PC on July 26th. These are the biggest games of July that are coming out. I'll have a full list.
My minor correction there, because Stadia doesn't launch until, November or September?
Yeah, but, this one will be out July 26th, and it'll be a launch game on Stadia is what I meant.
So it's going to be on Stadia, but it won't be available until it launches with Stadia.
Yeah, when
just
Stadia
want to
launches.
Clarify that so someone doesn't take our word for it and then come back to us and be like, you guys said Stadia was out on July 26th. We never said that.
Yeah, the game launches 26th, and it launches on Stadia on release. That's what
nice.
I meant. So with that, the top hitters, those are the trailers we'll be playing in the background. In case you see the trailer and you're wondering what the game is, the trailer calls out the game too. So our first big news topic is news with CD Projekt Red. They've announced that they are not working on multiple Cyberpunk games. They said in an interview, we currently have a total of 5 teams working on a number of projects, with 3 focusing on development of Cyberpunk 2077. These include CD Projekt Red Warsaw, Krakow, who are handling the main game, as well as Warclaw Studio. So pretty much what they're getting at is CD Projekt Red is just a standalone game. They're not doing Cyberpunk is a standalone game. They're not doing a Cyberpunk 2. They're not it's not going to be a series or a trilogy or anything. It's just going to be one game and done. They said they're not doing anything else after it. Their team that everyone was asking they have all these other people working on this game, but they said these other teams are working on various different games.
Well, that's not a surprise.
Yeah. So Cyberpunk will be... Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
No, I didn't want to get to it, but I was to say probably because I know Keanu Reeves probably has a big part of that. They campaigned hard to get his likeness in the game and everything. So, now that that's the expectation,
True.
Would he even come back for a second game?
Yeah,
and people would expect that, so it kind of makes sense.
You'd have to wait to see what his role in this game even is.
Well, true. He could just be there for like a whole minute.
Yeah. He might not. He might be the bad guy, and you end up killing him, or he might be a big role. It might be a minor role, just pops in. Might be a store. We don't know yet.
Just like, hey guys, I'm here.
So,
Give me
yeah.
my money.
So their
All right.
other games they're working on are Gwent, in an unannounced mobile title, but Cyberpunk 2077 is release date of April 16th of 2020. And that wraps it up for this. And I believe you now have some news to talk about.
Sort of, yes. I have two bits of information. One I actually was just reading this morning. I don't know how true this is. This is a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt, of course. They were saying, what was it? The hell is it called? The Last of Us 2. That has a leak date of April 2020. They didn't say, I didn't read if it had an exact date, but April 2020. And if it is April 2020, that is competing with a hell of a lot of games around that time.
Especially Cyberpunk.
Yeah, because you Cyberpunk the night before. Wow, the night before Watch Dogs, which I have a little bit of news on, and I'm going to get to. It's competing with all of that, which is coming around February, March, and so you have all of that, and that's, The Last of Us 2 is going to sell well anyway. But I think we will come towards the end of the PlayStation's. Did I say 20? Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
It will come towards the end of the PlayStation 4's life cycle, much as we thought it would. Same with how the first one did at the end of the PS3's life cycle, then getting ported over to the PS4. Same thing is probably going to happen here. Just my speculation. But on to Watch Dogs. My Watch Dogs news is basically, as you know, it is coming out in March, and you can play as almost any character in the game, which is what we already know that. But what they didn't tell us in the reveal trailer and all around that time was that there is a whole combination of around 20 different ways that the game could end with all of the non-playable characters, if that makes sense. So, you could end the game. So a lot of the characters, they weren't just one and done and just tied to a certain part of the story. If you get Granny, you could end the game with Granny if you take her through all of what needs to be done without her, dying before the permadeath system kicks in.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And there was 20 different combinations of the ways that can go, and each character there was a lot of customization they were going with that. They were having even people living in areas based on how they appear and their status. And this one guy, they use an example, he's just a gardener, so he lives in the poor area because he doesn't have a good, not a good enough job, but a money making job, so he lives in the more poorer area of London. So there's a lot going on with the game, a lot of I think it's just cool the way they're going to be doing this, so I'm hoping it lives up to the hype. And that was the news I had, is there was just a possible 20 different ways to end the game, and it's completely open, so I'm hyped. That's all I got on it.
So our next big topic we got, GOG. Anyone old school gaming, new gaming with GOG's probably taking off to be one of my favorite PC game launchers, competing with Steam there and Epic and that. So GOG is launching their Galaxy 2.0 now, which they state to its case to be the one PC library to rule them all. Right away, I liked the Lord of the Rings reference they had. And I really like GOG because they buy up the license for all these old games you can't play anymore that's not on Steam, not on Epic, and they have them there. Like Empire Earth and that, I can jump on and play it from GOG. So the things that's changing with the Galaxy 2.0, they're trying to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Integrate everything, that's it. Everything into what you need. So they have... They definitely said that they're not into the data selling business. So if you delete your service, it'll not only delete...
Wait, sorry. Delete your account? Does it delete your account?
If you delete your account, if you choose to disconnect the service, it'll not only delete it from your GOG 2 library, but it'll wipe all GOG servers immediately. So they won't hold any of your information.
What about so what about your games though and all that? That if you
I guess I'm not sure. It's still too early to say. I guess. I mean, this is if you delete your account. I guess the games will be gone.
well, if you delete your account, I guess your games would be
Yeah,
account.
they would be gone.
That would make
They're just saying if you choose to delete your account, like other games like Steam, they store all of your information in there.
Oh,
And
okay.
GOG,
I got it backwards. I got it backwards. That was my.
yeah. The problems are friends lists aren't fully integrated yet. They said they are working on this, and that's one of the big things they want to do. That their idea is to having a destination where you can see what all your friends are playing, compare each other's activities, lists, and progress, and eventually allow you to chat and interact across various platforms. But this is still golden. They're still working on this whole kind of process yet. It's not fully worked out yet. The biggest element missing in Galaxy 2.0 wrap right now is the ability to shop and purchase manually and manually update games from platforms other than GOG. You have to have GOG open to be able to shop on the GOG store and get updates. You have to have GOG open to update. So that's one thing they're working on as well, so you can branch out.
This is a lot of work.
Yeah, GOG's
Or it just sounds like a lot of work. But yeah,
it looks. I
What?
like the formatting for GOG. I really like their layout and everything. And this is another one. GOG might be coming up and taking over with the Steam and the Epic competition.
I haven't done much with GOG. I have checked it out when they've had the because sometimes they've had the lowest price on some things or an all-time low. But for me, I'm kind of one of those people, like, I've become one of those snobs that wants to have everything under one library as much as possible. So
yeah, that's one thing. They're trying to integrate all your games into one library, into their library. But yeah, I like GOG because they have games that I can't get elsewhere. That, like Empire Earth, like I said, the servers are, and Diablo. Diablo's a big one. They bought the rights to Diablo, and Diablo servers were shut down, and now you can play on GOG and play back online.
I was just about to ask you about the servers for the old games, like if they had them up, or
Yes.
is that something, or were they private? Well, that just answered that question. And then if they throw that old school Titanic game on there, it was really terrible, but really not as terrible as I'm making it out to be, but it was pretty terrible. Then I will.
Yeah. But
I
I
will go
believe
on there.
what GOG's intention is to do with the Galaxy 2.0 is to take all your games from Steam, all your games from Epic, all your games from Battle.net, all from Uplay, Origins, Steam. I said Steam. I forget there's
I know,
more.
but when you list them all out and there's already like 10 that you've listed, it makes it seem like, okay, well, maybe this is something we should be using. So
Yeah, so
to
GOG's
put it all
meant
into
is
one system.
Yeah, GOG's meant to pull all these different things and put them all into one library, so you can have all of these ones, but go to one library to play all of your games.
Yeah, literally until you listed them out and actually said them in succession, I did not think there was that many. And now
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. I'm like, damn, I really do
Yeah.
have, like, because I literally have every one that you said.
Yep. There's
Yeah.
even more. Which
Origin.
one do you have to play The Sims 4 on? It was EA.
That is Origin, yeah.
That's Origin.
That's Origin. Yep.
don't
For
like
now,
Origin.
unless it goes, separate. But then, of course, you have Twitch. Twitch has their own one too for, when they offer their free games of the month, and Discord even has their own.
Yeah.
Like
Everyone's
last,
branching. Bethesda
last year
has
the
their own.
Nightmare is, well, of course, and what is the other? There's another one that is it EA is launching another standalone, not EA.
Because EA's Origin.
No, there was one that was announced. I thought maybe I'm thinking it was not Bethesda. Ubisoft already has the Uplay, but they were announcing like a Game Pass thing. I think I'm confusing that with that. That's where my head is. That's what it is.
Well,
Moving on.
yeah, that wraps up the GOG. I'm interested to see the Galaxy 2.0. We're going to move on. We're going to open it up to more general game topic here. I believe you had a good conversation for this to start us off.
Was this the one where we're talking about games that we dislike?
Yes.
Or games that were really...
Or
what was wrong, the worst of the worst?
That was it. The worst of the worst. The things that were wrong.
All right. Well, you could start because, well, let me ask you.
Okay, I'll start off.
Okay. If you okay, besides this in general, what were like let's say your top 3 games that you thought, might have been they might actually be good games, but there's just so much wrong with them that it just makes it a hot mess. And of course, we have Friday the 13th, which is one example that I have.
I was just glancing over my games to try and get a note, and that's actually Friday's one of mine. And I'm going to start with Friday first, then. We'll both talk about it. Because, wait, let me get the next trailer here. This one's wrapping up, so you go ahead and talk about Friday first.
Okay, well, as you all know, Friday the 13th, of course, is one of the games. It's one of my top. If you follow me on Twitch, and, it's, of course, some of you are watching me on Twitch right now, so you obviously follow me. But I digress. It is one of those games that I love. I love it for what it is, but what I don't love is how much wasted potential the game has, and there was a lot of wasted potential with that. We're talking about, this is the company that had lots of opportunity before this impending lawsuit derailed everything and made everything a nightmare for I feel like there was a pun there, but there wasn't. It turned into like a circus, we're talking about they wanted to focus on dedicated servers before giving people their Kickstarter rewards and things like that. And because what was it on Kickstarter? Because I know they had exclusive things on Kickstarter, but then they were also talking about future content that never came to the game.
You know what? I supported Kickstarter. Now that you mention it, I forgot. I never once got any of my stuff that I was promised from Kickstarter. I just dawned on me once you mentioned that. I supported the game, and I didn't get anything. I forget what it was even we're supposed to get.
You should probably have Savini Jason then. Should check into that.
But I would have to give me a code. I never got the code.
Maybe it's in your Kickstarter. I don't know how.
Maybe I'll have to go and see where they sent it out.
So I don't know where Kickstarter works. I don't know where Kickstarter works. How Kickstarter works. Where does Kickstarter work? But no, so I don't want to take too long on this particular game. But I'm saying there was so many things that, of course, that it's a hot buggy mess. Of course, right now we were just playing last night, and you couldn't kill anybody unless you flashed them to death, or if you did only a Jason specific kill. But if you wanted to throw them through a window, hang them on a coat rack. Nothing. And then there's the constant glitchers and the constant cheaters. There's a lot of things that are wrong with the game.
That's the biggest thing that killed it for me was that literally. So when I played it, it was actually, I played on launch when it was a lot of fun. It was still glitchy, but I felt on launch, which is odd, there was significantly 90% less glitches than there are right now in the game. We were playing last night, and what was it? First, I dropped down firecrackers, and they went off for when Jason was chasing me. He was going to catch me, so I dropped the firecrackers. He picked me up. I broke free and broke into the animation of me being killed, and I lost all my stamina, let the fear instant maxed out, and I kept tripping over myself, and I couldn't run anymore. They broke that, so you can't get away. There was...
the car. The best one was the car.
Yeah. So I got in the animation where I should have been killed, and it broke free, and then I was considered dead in the game, but I wasn't really dead. So I ran, I did all the work, got the cars, fixed the car, got in, went to start it, and I came back as Tommy. As I did, it left my person in the car still headless, I might say. I had no head, but my character was stuck in the car. I had to lure Jason to the car to pull my character out and kill them for me to try and then I couldn't get back in the car because it was already glitched. I was still in the car. So the car was broken at that point.
Yeah, that was a fun time. But I mean, like I said, there was so much potential they had there. They had, there was also the, what was they going to do? They were going to do something with a paranoia mode where one person was supposed to be able to be the killer amongst them, and that sounded cool. Then they had the Uber Jason and the space map. They had so many things, and then they knew the lawsuit was coming because, the puzzle game, if you ever played the puzzle game, they were in the same position, same predicament. They knew the lawsuit was coming. They made everything before the lawsuit hit, so they could still technically release the content that was already made. So it's a shame that it is, they didn't do the same thing with the other version, and it would have been bigger than Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight should not have been as big as it is.
I don't know. Dead by Daylight's the one that has this die-hard fan base of people who, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but their fan base is just way hard onto the game. I think it's
now that they have all the DLC and they have all that, but I mean, Dead by Daylight's another one on so you want to talk about sometimes things that go frickin' glitchy. Oh my god.
See,
where do we begin with that?
I've yet to find really a glitch in Dead by Daylight. Unless you're talking, this is going to be a topic after. We're going to pause here. I have a topic after. So we're going to get back into what we were talking about here.
I mean, unless we're talking about our, what was I going to say there? What do you call that? I lost it. I was going to say like I forget it. I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, we're going to go back to original topic. So my list of games that, the worst of the worst. The first one, it's going to take the cake of them all. No matter what game you have, this one takes it. Battlefield 5. I caved. I bought it. I went and played it. EA, what the hell are you doing at this point? So,
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, right when they say that they don't put any work in, the game went half off the first 4 days. It was already on launch. 4 days later, it was already half off. You know there's problems, especially when your development team's telling you not to buy their game and insulting their fans. But so I went and I bought it, and the game is beyond glitchy. There's so many animation glitches. There's the layout, like the ground disappears randomly when you're running around, and you're like, okay, that doesn't look good. There's so many, like I sniped a guy in a tree, and he didn't die, but he fell through the tree, through the ground, and he's shooting me outside the world. It's like,
oh my god, yes.
Yeah, it's bad. They did not put any work, and they're not.
And they haven't fixed it yet.
They're not going to. They've pretty much. They have no interest in fixing it. And another problem, I'm a trophy hunter. I need to get the platinums.
I know that.
Yeah, one of the game modes, they decided the game is still very new. It came out this year. One of the game modes they put was do frontline. You have to do a level in frontline to get a trophy, to get the platinum. They decided, well, we don't really like this game mode, so we disabled it and took it out of the game completely. So the game is still practically new, and it's no longer able to get the platinum in the game. And they have no interest in fixing it. I contact support, and they said, just play everything else. Don't worry about that.
Just play everything else.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Their support has no interest. They think they actually kind of insulted people for trying to get the platinum. Like, it doesn't matter. Why do you care? Just play the game and enjoy it. It's like, well, okay, so you're insulting.
Well, then they should go ahead and remove that trophy if you can't. If you can't do it the way, I don't know. That's a perfect example of a company not giving an absolute crap. Yeah. So
that's why I said maybe I should use them last, but they're the top, because nothing's gonna top that. That's the top of the barrel of crap land.
Well, that may be the of crap. That might be a good, example of that in particular, but. I just typed something in the chat so I didn't forget of a game that I got to have the very fortunate pleasure of streaming the other night. And if you haven't played it, I highly suggest you don't.
Camper Jumper?
Yeah, camping. I don't even know what the whole freaking game is called. Camper Jumper Simulator. Yeah, Camper Jumper Simulator. You want to talk about a game that is a buggy mess that doesn't work worth a damn. First of all, let's just talk about the controls. The controls, man. There ain't even controller support, which was a big turnoff for me. But then as you're ASWDing to steer this big camper, half the time, none of the ASWD keys are corresponding to any of your actions on screen. And then when they do, your camper randomly just goes chaotically out of control, jumps off of a ledge, gets stuck between like an unfinished part of the map and the finished part of the map, and then you can't move it anymore. Or either that, or you're just driving your camper through an unfinished part of the map through blank space. And there's this like horrible collision detection, so when you either hit things, you either go right through them, like literally not even break them, you just go through them as if it's an invisible wall, or you hit it and you go flying off into God knows where. It's a mess. You have to play this.
That does sound pretty bad. But we're at 4 minutes left for this video. I'm going to jump into our last topic really quick.
Yes.
And I want to talk about ports. If you're a longtime fan of the podcast, you know exactly how I feel about ports. They're bad.
You love them.
Yeah, I love them. So much sarcasm. They're bad. They never work. And they especially don't work on the Nintendo Switch. I don't know what's going on. The Switch does not handle ports very well.
I think it depends on who's making it. Like you look at what is it, Wolfenstein, Doom. What Panic Button did with those. I mean, they turned on a lot of textures and things, but I mean, the game works the way it's supposed to work. And
texture and graphic drops I can see because the Switch doesn't have the hardware to handle the high graphics that the other consoles do. So that I don't even hold that against the Switch. That's just normal. It's dropping the graphics down, making it look a little...
Well, I know where you're going with, but I think it's like, I think a lot of sometimes, even with a lot of on console, you see some things from PC to console, it's like they only make it for literally PC and they don't know what the hell they're doing when it comes to console. You know, the console version.
Well, the one I'm glad to get to is a console-to-console one, but I'm going to save that one for a little later. We got, first off, you mentioned the Dead by Daylight one, which is transferring over, and the graphics, that's a perfect example. The graphics are destroyed by the port transfer.
Oh, from PC to console on that one, yeah.
Yeah. So
I prefer to play. Well, that's what I was talking about earlier with I notice on console with that one, it's not as glitchy as Friday the 13th, but there are things that I've had in gameplay, not just, just not aside from, just a lot of the random skipping and things like that.
See, I mean, I've been playing a lot, and I've yet to find any glitches in Dead by Daylight.
They're not as bad. They're not as like things that are going to throw you off the map, but there have been, some instances where I've had, a killer chasing me and I've dropped the pallet, but then the pallet didn't do anything. Like, not that it didn't do anything, like it went through the drop animation, but then it literally didn't do anything.
I don't know.
But the animation, that's one example. It doesn't happen often, but there's like a couple different. They're very minimal. They're not widespread. It's not as widespread. It's not as, no one's roof glitching, no one's throwing cars off the map. There's
yeah, that's one. I really haven't seen any though. But yeah, I guess if it's Friday though, that was
maybe it's just me. Maybe my connection was shit at the time. I don't know.
Maybe you're just lagging. I know if I am lagging, if I have bad connection, then things go wrong.
I shouldn't be. I'm hardwired and I have, one of the top speeds, but I don't know. Maybe.
But Friday, how glitchy it is now that they gave up on it, I can't even imagine when they ported to the Switch how much more glitchy, because ports always bring glitches. No matter how fine-tuned the game is, when they port it, there's always some kind of glitch that comes with it. So the fact that they're porting a really glitchy game, I can't even imagine to see what's going to happen.
Well, look at Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. That just got, I think they just started a Kickstarter to fix the Switch glitches.
That's another one. You have that. And Salt and Sanctuary is another one. That got brought over, and it got the port. I don't know what happened in there. The coding, it got screwed up. So now bosses disappear from the game completely. So you're just in an empty room. It starts flashing and causing seizures because the animation, something broke, and it just flashes random colors.
What is causing these things? I know we're getting close to our time here, and but what is causing? Is it because is it because it's tested on the PC and not the actual console? Because I know a lot of
because a lot of these ones they were ported from console, like they were from PS4 porting, or PlayStation General ported over to Switch. And
Well, no, I mean, even when they go from PC to console, but the console version is just so bad in comparison to the what causes that? Like, what? It's like a legit question I have because I don't know a lot about coding or.
Yeah, it comes into the coding. It's the same when you port from like PC to Mac. It's all the coding. It's programmed differently. They use different it may all still be, a lot of times they don't even use the same program, like C++. If it's C++, it might port fine, but if they use two different programming codes, they don't collaborate. So if you do in C++, you put int and you declare something and you make a variable, and then you use this programming device and they use DEC to declare instead. There's little things like that, and they get lost in transition somewhere, and little things in the code get lost and they don't transfer over properly, so they get kind of overlooked and removed, and that's what causes the errors.
So they remove the code rather than going in and I guess because it's more time intensive to fix it.
No, not the developer. It's the program itself.
The program.
They program it this way, but then when they port it, this program device can't read that, so it doesn't know what to do, so it skips that line.
But I just wonder how some companies get it right and some don't.
They spend a lot of... well, it comes in if they bring it, like, it depends on the way the game was made. If they use the same programming software, it transfers easier, but still... It's rendering. It's kind of compresses it all, so you lose a lot of files in compressing. So everything. It's kind of compressing. It crunches it down, and you lose a lot of data files. So that's
with everything else when you compress.
Yeah.
When you do.
So that's why it becomes choppier. It doesn't run as smooth. You lose graphic. Sometimes you get glitches like that. It loses them in the transfer. That's why it happens.
But dude, like, are these companies also are they supposed to be? They're supposed to be testing these things before they put them out. Some of them I feel like are skipping that completely.
Well, that's where Final Fantasy VII, the other one, they tested it and they found the glitch and they looked at it and they're like, well, it's a pretty big glitch. It's going to take a lot of work. And Nintendo's like,
so we're gonna
put it out anyway.
Put it out anyway.
That's kind of what they said and what they did, and they put it out, and people are complaining because I just talked about it a couple podcasts ago. The Switch glitch, Switch glitch, I like that.
Which glitch?
Where they're getting to the point where they can't advance the story because something doesn't trigger right. So Nintendo knew about this prior, and they still released this the port, and they kind of had no interest in fixing it. So their idea is kind of like, well, delete your game and start over, and you might not get that glitch this time.
Damn. But they already got their money. Well,
yeah, they already got and they're not offering refunds, which is why people were really pissed off. They weren't giving.
It is hard to get a refund on Nintendo, but if you bitch enough, you can do it. I've done it. WWE 2K18, perfect example. Your wrestler would walk out, and it would just freeze in the middle of an entrance.
Huh. Wow.
And then the referee would go to the corner of the ring, and it would crash the game. And the referee would just stand in the middle of you two, and then one of your wrestlers would fly out of the ring, and the other one, they'd be wrestling in the middle of the ropes. Like, it was, I'm not even making this up. Like, I was like, I had to call Nintendo, and I was like, this is the hottest piece of garbage I've ever played. I was like, this game has not worked. The developers have said they're not doing any more updates to it. I was like, I can't play it. It's unplayable. I was like, I wasted $15 on this.
That is
Give me my money.
Bad.
Give me my money.
But with that,
we're at time.
Yeah, we're at time. Check out the Stranger Things 3 video game we have here. It looks like an old school Nintendo game since we're on it. But we're going to wrap it up here.
Oh, damn it. I forgot to mention Mario Maker. But that's okay. All I was going to say was that it had, it had an impressive opening in Japan and the UK, doubling the previous game. So, that's it.
It's doing well. I
wanted to say it before I forgot.
Yeah. I kind of want to play Mario Maker, but I don't want to buy a Switch for it. But we're going to wrap this up here. Our closing. Just keep an eye out on Sundays. We have our debate show. Shamrock's going to be a guest star on the show. Every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/JesterTRT. And you can check us out on Facebook at GamerJester. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, guys. I don't have the closing animation, so I'll let Shamrock take it away. Good closing. See you guys next week.